like the little weather thing. I like the little weather thing on Android. You know, the clouds going by in the background, and I love the haptic response and the widgets, gadgets, whatever you want to call them, on your home screen.
Yeah, I do find that hysterical that one of the big drawbacks, even though we're getting a little off topic here, one of the big drawbacks in the iOS device is that it doesn't. Okay. And the iOS device is that it doesn't do widgets, which is supposedly something Mac made famous, even though there's arguable about whether or not Mac actually had it first.
I know that's a Windows Mac thing, but I believe it had an earlier form than.
Well, no. Mac had it before Windows. That's not the thing I'm talking about. It's a lot of the GUI stuff that Macs claim bragging rights for largely have open source development roots.
Right.
It's one of those things. Anyways, back to the activation pro and con thing.
Right.
That depends on the device. Like you say, on your Evo, it lets you skip it because you may be in an area where you don't have internet connectivity. On the Nexus 1, you can do it over Wi-Fi. There's an inconsistency to this, and it honestly depends. The device this person complaining was using was the European version of a Droid. Okay. And this is also a problem with the G1, too. It's just, this was the choice the OEM and carrier made. Some of these Android devices require activation to even boot into the phone, and they require the activation to take place over the cell phone network to assure you've actually bought the data plan or so on and so forth.
Yeah.
That is not a flaw of Android, that's something the carriers did.
That's right. Yes.
However, I would argue that if you're buying this device in an area where you do not have that connectivity, why are you buying this device? Like, their complaint for why this was bad is, well, they're just assuming I have internet. I'm like, that's not a crazy assumption to make at all. So I don't know if you agree. It's and even though for the obvious two flaws we just went over, I actually far prefer that system to the way the iOS does it.
Well, I hate going through iTunes. I'm an Apple guy, but I really hate it. I mean,
I wouldn't mind going through iTunes if they made a cloud-based version of iTunes that worked everything.
For me, it's okay if you have to go through iTunes. The Pre does it over the air, and you can get into the phone, but it won't give you the bars or data until you do the Verizon. This is on Verizon until you do their activation. But you can go through it, but you just don't have any connectivity. And once you do the Verizon part, you connect, and it does this. It calls in, you punch all these numbers in and all that other stuff, and you're good to go over the air. The other thing else is that the Palm Pre gets operating system updates over the air, which I know happened with my EVO when Sprint did it.
Right.
And I love that. See, I don't have to go to iTunes.
Well, no, that's the thing. That's actually one of their other complaints we'll get into in a little bit. But yeah, I like the fact that it's like, and I know Palm does this too, I just didn't know how they did it, but I like the fact that I just get this little notification that I have updates for my apps or my OS in general, and I just go, oh, okay, click. It's like, I don't have to go, oh, okay, please take your device, please go connect it to a computer, please log into this application, please run a manual check. It's like, no.
No, I agree totally. And it's amazing to me that, see, and the Palm is so nonchalant about it. It even tells you, we'll just download in the background, have fun using the phone. And when it's ready, we'll let you know. And to me, that's beautiful. And I think that Apple will come up with that again. Yeah, Apple's behind the times on that. And that is not something that I would put on AT&T. That is just something that Apple has to come up with some other way, because they did put so much resources in iTunes being everything. And I can understand that business model.
I'm honestly almost thinking that's the real reason Apple bought Lala, even though I think all the Lala users got screwed as a result of that.
Right,
And I don't think they're going to get unscrewed. It's like I really do feel for anyone who had Lala and had money tied up in it, and had their money just voided. And you know, if Apple sets that up, they're not going to give them their money back. Or do you think they will? Do you think they'll go? Anyone who had Lala credits now has iTunes credits?
Yes, I think they will get a credit. Apple has actually been very good, at least in my experience, in being fair with the consumer. I know there's consumers that want the bumpers subsidized and all that other stuff, but there have been like iMacs that have gotten recalls. They actually did reduced pricing, I believe, for one of the iMacs as well with a problem. For me, even, let's put it this way, I had software stolen, and Apple was courteous. They were nice enough to give me the software again, and all I had to do was just pay for the CD, the cost of shipping. And running the CD. Yeah. And that to me was just fantastic. And
I should say though, in the case of most companies, even ones that have horrible customer service, like Dell when they were really bad in the early aughts, and HP as of late, will do that as long as you got it from them.
Yeah.
It's like that's one of those standard courtesy things. Sometimes you have to ask to speak to a supervisor to get it, but if they're not so obsessed with fighting piracy that they're going to make you buy it again. In most cases.
Okay, fair enough. I've never experienced it with anybody else other than with Apple. I mean, I had my software taken from me.
Well, no, and it's like there's a lot of companies. It's like that. I will deal with them, especially when it comes to software purchases. I do most of my video editing on Linux now, but when I was doing my video editing on Windows, Corel, who bought Ulead, they're a good little company, and they do. And one of the things they're real good about, I have had times where it's been 4 years since I bought my last version of the thing, and I have restored my Windows machine, so I've erased that's on so of course it won't run, so I can't do the upgrade install because it has to verify the previous version and yada yada and so forth. And they're real good about, even if your documentation isn't as good as it really should be to fully prove, giving you the benefit of the doubt and going, okay, give me a day, I have to get permission, but we'll let you buy the full at the upgrade price, and so you're not screwed, because you are, and the better companies do have that customer service. It's
good to hear.
It's some of the OEMs and some really fly-by-night software companies give the PC, Windows, and Linux side. That's every person who does paid Linux software because of what paid Linux software is. Like, they know they have to have good customer service. But Windows sometimes gets a bad rap for that because of a few isolated companies. Most aren't like that.
Well, Windows, I got a beef with them for 3 of my software suites that I purchased are now giving me this genuine advantage, telling me it's not genuine, and I'm about
to... No. It's like, don't get me started on the Microsoft genuine bullshit.
That's all. Not serious.
No. No, what it is it's like the same thing that happened at Valve a few years back. Basically, they've had a bunch of keys compromised. So their reaction to it is they've just turned them all off. And get ready to go octuple verify to Microsoft. Basically, would you ship us back the CD and verify the sign? And good luck knowing where that is at this point. It's like, it's just, and that was what you had to do with Valve. Like, you remember when Half-Life got compromised? Like, you had to ship your Half-Life CD and serial back to Valve to be able to activate it with Steam. You remember what I'm talking about?